You're listening to Until They Sleep, a podcast where two parents finally get to sit down and discuss all the different things that run through their heads every day because their four kids are finally asleep. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to Until They Sleep. I am your co-host, Daniel, joined by my lovely wife, Chantel, the other host of this wonderful show. So welcome, sleepyheads. I hope you all had a great festivities and Halloween and
Day of the Dead.
And Day of the Dead, yeah. Mm-hmm. Ours was not what I expected.
Well, it's the first year since we've moved that you participate in Halloween with us. I mean, granted, it's only our second year, but
second year
last year it was just
location
the kids and I.
Yeah, and I think I hadn't done it in a little while, so I wanted to take it off. And I was a little disappointed. So if you don't mind, I'm just gonna jump in and talk about it.
Okay.
I was really taken back with our oldest son talking about, like, last year you told me that he didn't want to go trick or treating, he wanted to stay and he wanted to hand out candy, and then he was talking about hanging out with friends, possible for Halloween, going out doing his own thing, and then it started hitting me that he's not my little boy anymore. He's becoming a man. He's becoming 100% the individual, and we've noticed it as this year's gone by, where we're
especially this year.
Yeah, we're trying to do things, and he's like, I don't want to go. Can I stay? I just want to do my own thing. And he stays and he plays his bass or the guitar, or the piano. He can be as loud as he wants. He doesn't have to worry about
anybody being here.
Yeah, anybody being bothered by it.
And he is now 15.
Yeah, so I know that it's time for him to, do his own things. So it hit me that my little boy it's a man now. It's going to be a man now.
And this is our first.
Yeah, so this is our first. So I realized when you were decorating the house and you put out some of the old pictures that we had that when he was like, Captain America and he was Batman and
is this an episode where you're gonna make me cry?
I hope not. Maybe. I mean, we're talking about our firstborn. It's just realizing that time went by fast when I think about it. It went pretty fast, and I was seeing those pictures come out, and I was seeing him, and I hear him talking, and when we were celebrating his 15th birthday, and he's like my size, and
almost your size.
He sounds like me. Like his voice is like a man's voice. His mind is still a little boy, but his body, everything else, it's not. And I realized that just like that, next thing you know, the babies are grown ups, and it just sneaks up and it comes out of nowhere. And I was like, I got to take some time off and do things with him as a little boy. And right now, I haven't been doing it lately, and I need to do that before I realize that our baby girl is in those shoes. And it's going to be like, we'll become like the empty nesters.
Don't forget about the two in the middle.
No. I'm just saying,
two in the middle always get forgotten.
It's not that I'm forgetting them. I'm saying just like I'm realizing that our oldest is not the baby anymore. Like our baby, just like that, could be in those shoes, and then it's like, oh wait, we're gonna be empty nesters soon, but we're not there yet. I mean, we're still talking about,
she's 5.
She's 5. Yeah, another 10 years for her to get to that 15-year-old spot, and of course, along the way, I'm like, our next boy, number 2, he'll be there too. And
he'll be there in 4 years.
And our number 3 will, she's already showing
the independence
and the arguing.
She flips back and forth. She's only 7, so she definitely is like, Mommy, I still need you. I love you. Don't ever leave me. I'm never going to leave you. So we'll see how you feel about all what you're saying when you're a teenager and I don't give you your phone back. Or I don't give you a phone, right? Period.
So on that, I just wanted to take the time so that I can do things with the kids before I realize. Sometimes with being the dad and the parent that is like that's always trying to provide what they need financially. you kind of forget what they need and what you also need emotionally.
But isn't that, I mean, and there's been other episodes where we've talked about, the man who goes and does what he has to do to provide for his family. And that we've pointed out that we're living in a society where men don't do that anymore.
No, you're right. And a lot of things have changed. Yeah, obviously throughout the years, throughout the decades. But
So is it a detriment then for dads to be spending time with their children because they're not out there working? I don't know. I feel like it's a double-edged sword.
oh no, for sure, for sure. And to me, it always goes back to like, well, look at the times we're living, right? Like we talked about it before, and like we keep on going back to that answer is
connected.
like it's connected, right? Because somewhere along the way, I guess not the boomers, but the ones before that, what were they called? Like
The ones after our generation X?
no, before boomers.
Okay.
So X boomers and then whatever was before, right? Because most Generation X, their parents were boomers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but not
Yes.
for me because
Well, your dad's even
my dad was a
older.
lot older, right? So I was kind of raised by kind of like a boomer / Generation X like household. Because my brothers and my sisters also were like an influence because they were older than me. Mm-hmm. They were old enough to be my parents.
Yeah, that's true.
So you see what I mean? So
Yeah.
I grew up with that extra
Yeah,
tough love.
like
that
we were
extra.
born at the end of Generation X.
You're right. I was 2 years before 1980, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's from 1965 to, it says on here 79/80. So we are the end of Generation
Okay.
X.
So yeah, so our boy, our number one, decided to inform us that he got in contact with her old friend,
A young lady.
a young lady, and he wanted to hang out with her for Halloween and do their own thing. And of course, my wife, being a mother, did the right things. I'm not making fun of them. You know, it's like who, where are you guys going? What's the plan? From what time to what time? You better be sharing your locations with me. Who else is going? Who are these people? You don't know anyone but her, and you barely know her.
Yeah, he barely knows her. He knew her for 4 days in person.
Yeah, but they get in touch on the phone, and then it kind of went away for, I don't know, a year or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I guess they reached out during the recent birthday wishes for someone.
Yeah, well, both of them this year, I guess she reached out to him to say happy birthday, and he also reached out to her to say happy birthday.
Right.
And they've just been kind of texting back and forth since then. So.
Yeah, and as a dad, you can see that his eyes kind of light up when he talks to her, or he mentions
talks
her,
about her,
he talks about her. So he feels in his heart that they have a lot of similarities and a lot of things that they like, and so he feels like I'm comfortable with her. I like her, so I want to hang out with her. I want to get to know her more. To the point where he even reached out to his oldest sister for some advice of like, what should I do?
What do I say?
What's my next step? Which I thought that was cute. So yeah, so my wife was kind of like, I don't know, whatever. But at the end, came the day, and it didn't happen.
That morning, he still didn't have an answer from her as to what time. Because I kept telling him, dude, it's like Halloween day. I need to know what time do I need to drop you off? Because I still have to get your siblings ready for trick-or-treating. So what's going on? Like, are they coming for you? Are you going over there? They don't live too far from us, but far enough that some parent's going to drive somewhere to drop someone off,
Right.
So, again, morning of Halloween, no answers. And then when I pick him up, or I don't know, at some point in the day, he confirms that she said her dad said no.
Yeah, so I guess friends flaked.
Her friends flaked.
And said no, they can't do it. They have to do the family thing. Imagine that. And thank you, parents, for still forcing. There's still some parents out there that are
Force the
forcing their
family
kids
thing.
to do the family thing. And her dad said, I'm not letting you hang out with some boy I don't know. And
Especially when your friends aren't going to be
yeah.
around. Mm-hmm.
So kudos, Dad. Thank you. I totally, completely respect that
I
point of
do
view.
too.
And I told him, well, why don't you reach out and ask her if she wants to go trick or treating with us as a family? And in the process, we can go pick her up, and I'll meet her dad, and we can talk, and then he'll get all my info and your mom's info, and she can kick it with us, and you guys go on your way, in front of us or behind us. But he was like, no, it's cool, Dad. So she stayed home, handed out candy, and I guess they were kind of they kind of split it in a way because he was on the phone with her while she went trick or treating with her siblings. So
Yeah, they were on the phone, he said, for an hour while
yeah,
she was out trick or treating.
but overall, what a dud for me who loves Halloween and I was looking forward to it. We were walking about one house per block to for freaking candy or any decoration. So I guess it got spoiled from our previous neighborhoods where it was like every other house or something of that nature, or you just go around that block
Or every
and
other
like,
street.
boom, yeah. So I was a little bummed out. I was actually really upset about it.
Yes, he was. And on top of that, it was a lot of walking to get as much candy as the kids. I think they did pretty well.
At the end, when I looked at it,
yeah, it's, and I think it's because so few kids do come through
That they
the
were getting-
neighborhood that they were just giving out a lot of candy,
fistful.
like fistful. Of course, we get home to our own, trick or treating spot, and we still have 2 whole buckets full of candy, and we're telling our 15-year-old who is in charge of handing out candy, like, dude, why do we have so much candy left? And he's like, we only got like 5 people. I said, well, if we don't get that many people, you grab fistfuls of candy and you throw it in their bags. You don't let them pick.
Yeah, true.
So
True. Yeah, it would have been kind of cool.
yeah, well, and then people would have been like, hey, that house gives you fistfuls of candy. Yeah, because
Right.
like we literally only had 5, but it was better than last year. Last
Yeah.
year it was only 2.
Yeah, from what I heard. Yeah. So, but it kind of worked out, right? So, one of my coworkers was telling me, I was with them. We were doing some stuff at work the following day, and he's a divorcee dad. He has kids, and he has this little baby girl. And I guess he had received pictures of her in her costume, and she's a cute little cat. And I guess she FaceTimed, and it was just a perfect time, and she FaceTimed him to talk to him real quick, and she was kind of sad and upset that she got all dressed up and everything, and no one took her trick or treating, so she was very sad. And I was like, I butted in the conversation. We're like, hey, don't worry, we got you covered, and like we're gonna send you some candy, and so we did, and I hope she's eating the crap out of it this weekend.
Yeah, you're so funny though, because you told me that you had told your friend that candy was only for her and not to share with anybody, because especially in her household, because they didn't take her trick or treating, she didn't have to share with
She's
anybody.
got 3 older siblings, and they're all
And nobody
teenagers.
took her.
Yeah, and they all could have at least taken her out, aside from the mom, but whatever. So I was like, no, this is just for her. Ain't nobody else gonna get any. Let her enjoy it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, our kids have plenty of candy for a while, on top of what didn't go away. So,
Yeah.
but I mean,
I got
you
to see
kinda-
that famous house you talked about last year.
oh yeah, there's this one house on our street. They do fog and like strobe lights. Definitely not a house you want to go to if you got any type of like heart condition though.
Oh, or yeah,
Or
if you
got,
get seizures with
seizures,
lights,
you do not go to
if
this
you
house.
have a phobia with clowns.
Yes, any phobias of clowns, you don't go to this
I did
house.
love their Sleepy Hollow animatronic that they had by the door.
I don't remember.
That thing was awesome.
They have so many animatronics in that house.
Yeah.
You have to walk into their courtyard, and then they're standing at the other end of their walkway to pass out their candy. But you've got to pass by all these animatronics that are very,
it was
very
cool.
creepy looking.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice.
Last year it was like killer clowns, and it was all killer. Like our then 10-year-old, he was loving it because he loves all those
So,
killer clown things.
I introduced him to Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yes,
It
he
was one of,
did.
it was one of my favorite movies when I was in sixth grade. I watched that and I enjoyed it, and I used to draw them all the time. And I don't know how it came up, and I was like, oh, it was on some streaming service, and I put it on, and lo and behold, the one that I was putting it on for, he ended up liking it, and now he's got this thing about Killer
Killer
Clowns
clowns.
from Outer Space.
Yep.
To the point where he knows it better than I do now. Like he
Our,
remembers.
our kids have kind of done that. Like, there's been things that we'll show them, and they go to the extreme. Like, it catches their interest enough that they go research it. And now, like Star Wars.
Oh yeah, Star Wars.
And now they know so much more than we ever did.
Oh no, yeah, for sure. I was playing with the oldest earlier, and he tells me, I was like, "Where are you?" And he's telling me, "I'm the blah 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 blah." And I was like, oh, "What is that?" He said, "This is the type of race, Dad. Like, don't you know Star Wars?" I was like, "Oh, my bad."
Yeah.
I enjoy watching it and knowing part of it, but not to your level, buddy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Going back to what you were saying about our son going out.
right, yeah. So it brought up a conversation between us, right?
Yeah.
You thought I was making fun of you because
I wanted to meet the parents.
yeah, and I'm like, let them be, let him go. He's old enough. Like,
I never said no.
no, and you're right. You never said no, but I was like, well, like I poke, I'll make my jokes like, oh, mama's boy. But I started thinking about it. It's like, well, no, there's nothing wrong with that, and that led to kind of like us thinking about, well, we have 4 kids, and we're going through this now with the oldest one. When is the right age to allow them to start going out by themselves without adult supervision? When are they old enough to start dating?
And it's kind of crazy because I know we were raised very differently, right? We've covered in previous episodes, and for those who haven't heard our previous stuff, I was raised in a very strict household, very religious household, where I wasn't allowed to do much outside of my household without someone with me. And like, my parents had to know the other parents, or they had to be members of the church. That's kind of the way it was for me. Whereas you were free range, like you did whatever you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't come home, I mean, they'd send the cops looking for you at some point.
I thought about that. I don't think they would have sent the cops out.
So not even the cops, huh? Maybe they would have notified your sister, right? Because didn't she work for the government or something?
Down in TJ, yeah.
Yeah. And be like, hey, have you heard anything?
You're taking me to another road, because I was thinking, it's so funny you say that right now, because sometime during the week I was thinking about that, like that aspect of like, I bet you I could have gone without days without going home, and they probably wouldn't even been like, because I did it later on. Like, I did it later on where my dad's girlfriend had a grandson that was my age, and I remember one time I just disappeared with him for a week. Like,
But they knew you were with him.
no, they didn't. They were
No?
like, "Where is he?" Like, what? Like, well, the last person that saw him was like, "Oh yeah, he's with with Valo over there," and they're like, "What?" Like, and then I got grief afterwards, but I was like, "Oh, thanks for like."
Caring enough to give me
Caring
grief.
enough to give me grief now, but like, it took you how many days to figure out that I was gone for a week?
Oh my gosh. Well, see, and that would have never happened in my household. So now we're in this conundrum, right? Which is the right way to raise them, right? And you poke fun at the fact that I want to know who the parents are, but I'm not saying he can't go. I just want to know who, what, where, when, and for how long. And you didn't even ask any of that stuff. You're like, yeah, sure, you can go, and you left it at that. But I don't know. So what's right? And the thing is, the world we live in right now, I really don't know the right answer, because
That's the $1 million question, right?
I
And
really
then,
don't know.
like you said, we all grew up different.
Mm-hmm.
We all had different types of parents and structures or disciplines. So I'm pretty sure as parents we can all have a different point of view on this subject.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, you were only allowed to hang around with certain people
Mm-hmm.
under supervision, and if they were like members of the church. While with me, it was more like more of a joke. Like, you don't have a girlfriend yet? What are you, gay?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You all right?
I'm just trying not to gulp on the
Oh,
mic, and it's really hard.
I just see you kind of doing this weird thing.
I
with
know.
your-
I'm just trying not to gulp on the
Uh,
mic.
you said something about the whole that I was telling you that made me think about one thing. I'm gonna go to it real quick. So you introduced me to this guy on Instagram that does words of the day,
Oh yes,
and
I love him.
so
Sorry.
it's kind of addictive. And he threw one the other day, and I even saved it. And the word of the day was Alexa Timia.
Do you want which one?
Alexithymia. It's when you say like, "There's no words for the emotions that I feel."
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's what it means.
Oh.
It's a Alexithymia.
And that reminded you of what?
What's like moments when like I don't know how to feel about everything. Like I was
Okay.
thinking about, I didn't know how to put it into words about my son becoming a man and not being the baby and time going fast, and I didn't know how to explain that or show it, or like the parents that care or too overprotective, or I just couldn't put it into words,
Okay.
like the emotions that I feel. I can't pinpoint it,
Okay.
like there's moments when I feel sad or happy, or it's just
like a whole gambit of emotion.
Yeah, it's just but I just can't really, you can't really describe it.
Okay.
So the word of the day was alexithymia. All right, whatever. I'm sorry,
So-
I didn't want to forget about it.
Okay. So
Then
that leads to the fact that you weren't sure how to feel about it because our 15-year-old was wanting to go hang out with this young lady. Like, you made it seem like, yeah, my boy, type of thing. We don't know this girl. We only know her in pictures.
yeah, pictures
In like
that's all I
one or
know.
two pictures that he's shown us. And she was like a emo girl.
Mhm.
But the last picture he showed me, she doesn't look like that no more.
He
didn't
didn't show
show
me
you?
that. No, the only picture I ever saw her was she had like
And not
average
that there's
long
anything
black
wrong
hair.
with emo. I'm just trying to describe her look.
Yeah, and she kind of had like the black eyeliner, like kind of like, but she was doing kind of like the onk on her end of her eyelid.
Yeah. And I know she plays the bass.
And she was a bass player, yeah.
Yeah. And
then
like
I saw-
literally he only knew this girl physically, like in person for 4 days.
Oh wow! I can't imagine meeting a person for like a day and just feeling so connected that you want to hang out with them and talk to them all the time after that. And then, write
Well,
letters and I'm
He's
sorry,
younger.
text messages.
He's younger. He was like,
He's your age.
no, I was 15.
He's 15.
No, but he was 13 when he met her. Going on 14.
Yeah, still don't see a problem. But okay, so back to it.
Okay.
So bottom line is, started thinking about like what's the right age to start dating, right?
Yes.
And like we said, we don't know a lot of people with kids, or they already raised their
They've
kids.
either raised their kids or
And
they're
did they
still
raise
babies.
their kids? Their parents probably raised their kids.
Yeah.
Some of the people that we know.
That's true too.
But and that's not a great example because like let's think about the other two girls that are my brothers, and their grandma was kind of like hiding it behind them that they had little friends and
Oh,
everything.
yes. I remember.
Right, she was like the main.
I remember. Yes,
Wing
there
man.
was.
Wing lady.
I remember the situation with that where she was the one what's the word? Alcahueta? That's
Yeah.
what they always said. Where they would go hang out with their grandma.
Yeah, I'm gonna spend the weekend with grandma, but she's like, they'll
It's
get there
because
and they're
she
like,
was letting them go see their boyfriends.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
right.
I remember.
So there was a big difference, but it was our kids, so I'll forget about it.
Yeah, and they were
So
younger too. They
yeah.
were,
So again, see,
yeah.
and there we go. It's like when's the right age? So we're wondering about that, right? Like,
Well, see, I had a little boyfriend when I was in junior high, but I was not allowed to go anywhere with him. He was allowed to come over and hang out at the house with my brothers and me. Like my brothers had to be present at all times, type of thing. Like that was.
I get jealous. I'm sorry. I don't.
I say, there's no reason you didn't even know me.
It doesn't matter. You're supposed to be waiting for me.
But that was I was in junior high, and I was allowed to have a little boyfriend, but there was nothing. We weren't going anywhere. We weren't doing anything. Like we were in my house watching TV with my brothers surrounding us. You know what I mean? Versus you and your friends were probably your little girlfriends were, I don't know, out and about. Whatever you guys were doing.
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't have girlfriends. I had friends only.
Okay, your friends.
I think you're talking about junior high. It was a group of friends. We did everything like in groups. There were some girls and there were some guys, and maybe a group of, I want to say 6, 7.
Okay.
And we always kind of went out. I think one of my friends was actually the boyfriend of one of the girls. And then, and that was it. I think they were like the only couple.
Is that one friend?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They were the only one that were like a couple. But of course, they were always like, oh, well, my friend wants to likes that friend of yours, or, whatever.
Trying to hook you up, I remember.
Yeah.
You told
Trying
me.
to hook them up.
Trying to hook their friends.
Not me. Trying to hook them up.
But then
yeah.
your situation was groups.
Yeah. Well, see, I always talk about this. I had a nephew that was my age, and he had like a little girlfriend, and she would go to the family cookouts and birthday parties, and she was over there, and the sisters, my sisters and my brothers would pick her up or drop him off. He was definitely more free range than me. Like he went on. While me, on the other hand, I was like, nah.
You just weren't interested.
Oh, I liked the women. Like I've always had.
I know, but you weren't interested in a relationship.
No, they weren't interested in me. I think that was the thing. They weren't interested in me. I had that complex.
Didn't you tell me that your friend's girlfriend didn't like you?
Yeah, well, that's where I was going. I have always had that issue. That's why I say ever since I was a kid, like I just have that face, or like something about my personality, how I come across, that like for them it was always like, oh no, he's a player, he's a man whore, he's too cocky. Everywhere he goes, he's like the center of attention, or he always has something to say that's not great. So those sort of things that kind of like, yeah, they hated me. They, I was like, oh no, and yeah, I mean,
but you weren't. You were very blunt, is what my understanding is. It's like you said whatever was on your mind, no filter, which hasn't changed. Like you still,
right?
I mean, you do have a filter now, but I think it's because you have kids.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
Yeah, I remember. And then there was another thing. Like I said, my nephew would bring his girlfriend all the time. And so, I would show up and it's like, oh, what about you? What about you? Where's your girlfriend? I was like, no girlfriend for me.
And then the jokes begin.
Yeah. And then I remember my stepmom telling people, it was like, look, he told me once, and it was true. He told me that he's not going to bring around just randomly girls. Though whenever he brings a girl over to a family thing, it's because she's special and she means something. So I can respect that because it makes it hard for like the little nephews and nieces.
How many girls did you take to family events before you took me?
How many girls did I take to family events before I took you? The answer is none, baby.
The truth.
I want to say one.
The one when you were like 15?
Yeah, probably 14, 15. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think, yeah, 15. I
That's the
think
only
was
one you
15.
told me you were like serious about.
Yeah, at the time, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was one. I want to say one, yeah. And then that's why when you went too, they were like, oh, well, that's kind of fast. Like, you just started talking about her. I was like, oh, I've known her for a year.
I was like, yeah, we'd already known each other for
Yeah.
a year.
Yeah. I was like, no. But they were like, oh, they're friends. I was like, yeah, we're friends. But they were like, no, you're not. You're friends. We know what kind of friends you guys are, you know?
Well, and by then we were 16, 17.
Right.
Yeah. So we were older
Oh,
than
and I
our
thank
son
you
is
for that.
now.
No, and that was different too because at that time when we spent that time together, you know, I was going through some rough. I was going through a rough time in my life. I wasn't. I didn't have a house at that time. I didn't have anything. So, you were there for me. You were a friend. You helped me get through it. I mean, if anything, I even remember you were upset, but you even took me to the recruiter's office because there was something I was talking about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you were with me when I went to do that. So you were being a great friend. You know, you were there. You listened. You helped out. You kept me company. And in a few moments where I knew at the time I didn't let you know what I was going through my mind and what I was feeling.
Yeah, I didn't know a lot of what was going on in your life. You didn't give me details.
You just knew that I needed it.
I just knew that
I needed some love and support.
I just knew that you liked me.
Yeah.
And that you liked having me around.
Yeah, right. So see, there you go. So we're getting off the subject.
Yes,
big
but
time.
no, because it still relates to the age, right?
Yeah.
So we were 16, 17
right.
during that, right? And here we are talking about our 15-year-old.
So we were older, yeah. We
were older. But prior to us, the age that we met, you know, you were still kind of able to go and do whatever you wanted, hang out with your friends. If you had a little girlfriend, I'm sure nobody bothered you guys about it or cared or whatever. Whereas for me, it was very different. So when it comes to our son or our children in general, we're going to have to find a middle ground, right? Because I think for the most part, we're on the same page when it comes to saying that we want to know who he's hanging out with, where he's going to be, and for how long he plans to be there. Because we also need to coordinate pick up and drop off, right? But B, just the world is nuts.
That's the main one. I think. I mean, we might just come across like we're being so overprotective, you know. But it's just because, well, you know, we hear things, we see the news, we see podcasts about murders and kidnappings and all that stuff. So in a way, yeah, we become a little bit paranoid. Because we know how crappy the world is. I mean, has it always been kind of like this? Yes,
Probably.
But it just feels that it's worse now because there's so much more people, so it's easier and it's so much.
Now, does it feel worse though because we feel our children are not prepared to deal with it?
Yeah.
Because like we were looking up statistics, and I looked up the statistics of parents' concerns for their kids, and I found this website. Of course, we will always post our links to our in our show notes for websites that we reference. But this one's basically talking about the top issues for parents or the top concerns for parents. And it was, I think, a list of 8 things. And at the top of the list is parents seem to be mostly worried with their kids suffering from anxiety or some sort of depression, especially post the pandemic. So post-pandemic, this is like the number one thing parents are worried about is their kids' anxiety and depression. And it's definitely in our faces, right? Where we've covered the fact that, so many more kids have been diagnosed with ADHD or some form of depression, and they're all on medication. So of course, when you think of, and then you hear about shootings from depressed kids.
Right. So real quick, I'm sorry. It's just making me think about it, and if I don't come back to it, it's gonna drive me crazy. Do you think that maybe also the pressure of not dating or having a group of friends to hang out with could lead to some of this anxiety and depression?
Well, I think that was part of the whole post-COVID thing, right? Was because everybody was so many this comes up in the schools, right? And between parents that I talk to at schools, where we saw in the year or two after school started back up, kids didn't know how to behave around each other.
Yeah.
They were being bullies. A lot of them were being
They
bullies.
had so
They
much
had
pinned
so
up.
much pent up frustration
Yeah.
or whatever, and they
I
were
think that's the
taking
main
it
one.
out on other kids. And interestingly enough, on this list, bullies come in as number two,
Okay.
or being bullied comes in as
All
number
right.
two.
So continue with the list.
So it's just that whole anxiety and depression and being a bully or being bullied seem to be, I imagine that they're connected, because either you're depressed and you kind of go back into yourself, you become kind of isolated from whatever it is, you're fearful. I mean, I still see kids wearing masks, right? And how many, it's been a while now.
Well,
So
right
this
now,
is now fear that's been ingrained in their heads.
yeah, but right now that's the new thing. They're going back to the mask right now.
Well, but even, I'm just saying, within the last year or two, when
But
everybody else had taken off their, I'm just trying to point out
no,
that
right?
there's this
And you were
anxiety
saying, yeah,
still.
you were saying that whole bullying thing. But at the same time, if you remember, per the pandemic, there was so many couples that were getting divorced.
Oh, yeah.
So it was so high. So if the kids were at
Even
home,
murder rates went up.
right? So but if the kids are at home and they're seeing this,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
they see the parents, they see how they get along, they see the fighting, the arguing, the bickering, and they can't, they have no
internalize
outlet,
it.
and they're internalizing it, and then they end up going back
to
out
school.
with other kids, and then they feel or they say something that one parent said, and they remember, well, my dad acted like this when my mom said that, so I'm gonna lash out at this kid like my dad did, or vice versa, or my mom, my mom did, right? Like, well, the stupidity, like like that was their role model, right?
Well, it was from what I heard from the teachers last year, it was attention seeking. So all these kids who are in middle school, right? Middle school age, even younger than middle school, are all acting out because they want attention. Doesn't matter how they get the attention, they just want some type of attention. And then whether they're bullying people, whether they're acting out in class and claiming ADHD, or their parents are claiming that that's what's wrong with them now. So these things
They correlate with one another.
they correlate, right?
Right.
So again, this is at the top of the list of parents' concerns for their kids these days, is
Right.
their mental health, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then number 3 was being kidnapped.
Wait, number 3?
Yeah. Number 3 concern for parents is being kidnapped. And I think we fall into that. we fall into that one.
For me, that's number 1.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing we worry about is
That's my number 1 concern right there.
kids being, well, and I don't even, I think, let me see, being shot was on here too, but it's like way down the list. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 6 on the list is getting shot. Being beaten up and having problems with drugs are right after being kidnapped. So being kidnapped is still it's still the top 3. Whereas getting in trouble with the police, most parents never worry about that, according to this, or getting pregnant. Those are the
What
two
the
things parents don't worry about.
that would be like my number 2.
So, again, for us, our concerns are that our kid's going to be in the wrong place in the wrong time at the
Right.
wrong time, right? Unfortunately, that's definitely something we can't control. We can't even control it for ourselves, being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And as much as you want to protect your kids from being in the wrong place at the wrong time, you have to kind of let them live their lives. But I definitely do not believe that younger than 15 is the right age. And I think you found information.
Yeah,
To the contrary.
Well, that's a perfect setup. I was going to go into it. So I did a search, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we don't have a lot of parents that are going through what we're going right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I started thinking about it, and I did a search. And so on average, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, the average age for kids to start dating is 12 and a half for girls and 13 and a half for boys. However, they're saying that, of course, every teen is different, and, some might be ready sooner or later than their peers. But at the same time, the common thing that they notice is that a lot of the times it's more of boys and girls socializing as a group.
Yeah, which is
So
what you
instead of
said you
yeah,
used to do at that age.
right, yeah. At 12, going out in groups, it says here, is a lot more common than going out with just one person on a date. So it's more, yeah, it's just hanging out with a bunch of
See,
mutual
I would have
friends.
loved that at that age, but again, I was so overprotected.
But I think you kind of had that though, because even your dad will like for you said for your like your birthdays, you know, you took a group of friends and took you guys out to Palm Springs and you guys did stuff.
When I turned 14, instead my dad gave me that option. He's like,
Yeah,
we can
but
wait till
see
you're
that
older.
was a socialized kind of date thing
But it
because you had a little
was
boyfriend there and everything,
but it
right?
was like everyone they knew. And my parents were of course there, my brothers were there. It was completely supervised,
Yeah, so
100%.
different. Yeah,
So
so
different
different.
than you.
Yeah, no,
So different than you.
because I remember, yeah, no, not even
That would have
gonna-
never happened.
No, yeah.
No, that would have never
Yeah, I was
happened
like,
in your
you would
world.
have never been saved. That, whew, not around me.
So, it's
Or
again,
no
I
one's
was
daughters
I
would have
wasn't
been
even
saved.
allowed to go to the mall with my girlfriends. That's how protected I was. I didn't start doing those things until I was in high school, and it was on ditch day. You know what I mean? Like that was me going to the mall
This,
with my
yeah.
girlfriends was on ditch day when my parents didn't know. Type of thing. So
Yeah,
otherwise,
so and that's the thing, right? Like, so let's think about it. 15. Think about what you were doing when you were 15. You're kind of covering part of it right there, and compare that to what I was doing at 15, and it's like night and day. You know?
Yeah.
But, I mean, if I went to school, I went to school. If I went to hang out with my friends, I went out. I did hang out with my one close friend, my one childhood friend that was my brother, my best friend. We always did things together. We went to the movies, went out to eat. He had his little girlfriend, so I was kind of like the third wheel most of the times.
but see, our son, going back to our son, he doesn't have like a close clique of friends.
No, no,
But he
but
was invited to hang out with the guys that same night, but he chose the girl.
yeah, but at the same time, he was telling me that they were gonna dress up like they had like a theme, and they were gonna be like Batman and the Robins,
Yeah, he
and
told me he was going to be Nightwing.
Nightwing, and I don't think he wanted to be Nightwing, to be honest. I think he was like, I broke my Nightwing, nightstick that we made.
That
for him
might be
that
the
1 year.
only reason he would want to go. See, he still has his Nightwing sweater.
Yeah, but he's kind of like, I've been there, done that.
I
wanna
don't
do
know.
that.
I did.
And then most definitely, it's like, yo, he's a girl that I like.
Yeah.
I enjoy talking to her and
Yeah.
hanging out. Like, why wouldn't I spend time with her?
I was kind of surprised that he opted to just pass out candy instead of telling me like, okay, well, it's not going to work out with this girl, so I'm going to go hang out with the guys.
I think something happened with the guys too. He said
He didn't tell me then.
somebody was flaking, or somebody was doing,
Yeah, he
like
didn't
they all
tell
ended
me.
up doing their own thing.
Oh, okay. I don't know. He didn't.
But yeah,
explain
you're
it to
right.
me.
He's a loner. He likes to be alone. He likes to do his own thing.
Yeah.
And I get it. It's part of the age.
Well, see, and I don't know because I feel like at that age, at this age and that age, at this age, you want to be hanging out with your friends. You want to be going places. You want to.
Okay,
And I understand we live kind of far from everybody, so
yeah.
I don't know if that
So
has.
okay, so on that note, we live kind of far. He's 15 now.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to hang out. Let's say he wants to hang out with this girl. Like, what is it? Is it do you drive him, pick him up? You drive them to the mall, drop them off, and they do the same thing with the friends. And it's like, because I mean, that was the thing with us. Like, hey, we'll meet you at the mall on this day at this time. We'll go there, hang out, walk around, bump into each other. Hey, let's go catch a flick. Let's watch a movie.
But your parents weren't driving you around.
No, I had to take the trolley and the bus and everything.
Yeah.
And then
Our
there's
kids have no idea what a bus is.
oh no, yeah. And then there was like, all right, we all pitch in and get a pizza pie, like and it's a pie, and okay, pizza. Sorry,
And that's fine.
And we hung out or go to the arcade or
Well, like with our
my favorite
son,
place to go was Horton Plaza. I remember now that I'm thinking about it.
with our son, so it's been like a year since he's hung out with any of his old friends.
Yeah, they did that for a while.
And
That's
they
right.
did, like for a while, they're his old friends from his previous school we're always like, hey, dude, let's go. We're going to all be here. Why don't you meet us at the roller skating ring? Or we're going to go to the mall. And he's the one who just started flaking on everybody. And I do sometimes wonder if it's because he would be like, hey, mom, can I stay longer? And again, we don't live near these people.
Right.
We
So
don't
you
live
have to.
near. So I'd be like, buddy, I got to get home. I got to do this. I got to do that. You can't stay longer.
Well, I think that's part of it, but the other part of it is as follows, and you know where I'm going with this one. Yes, there were a group of friends. It was the school that he went to before. They all hung out,
And
had a
they
good
knew
time,
each
and
other for a
everything.
long time.
But amongst these people was that one girl that was like his best friend, supposedly,
And she ruined it for him.
and she broke his heart.
Okay.
You know, they had that puppy love thing going on. Like
Yeah.
you can tell they liked each other. They were always holding hands, and they were always bumping into one another and doing this thing. And nothing ever came to it. And you know, high school came. They went their separate ways, and that was lost. And I guess because for a little while, the guys did reach out and invited him to things, but she was gonna be there. And as soon as he would hear that she was gonna be there,
Yeah, he didn't want to
No.
go.
I don't wanna
That's
go.
true. It is true. But I mean, even the times he hung out with just the guys, like none of these kids were getting themselves home. Like none of them were like all of them were waiting for a parent to come and get them, or they were carpooling with another parent, you know, who was going to take them. Ours was the only one who had to leave earlier than everybody else because we lived the furthest away. And I wasn't close to any of the parents of these other kids. I just kind of knew them from school or was trusting that these kids were good with some of these kids. And that was it.
And then at the same time, I started thinking about like when he was in jiu-jitsu, right? And he would hang out with some of the guys, and when he went to tournaments, he would like, you know, we would be happy to see him,
Yeah,
socialize
socializing.
and playing with
Yes.
those guys and talking about stuff. But it also fell into the parents, and I felt like when it came to the parents and us, there was a big difference, and I think that was the major thing because I think we were older parents,
That's
right?
true
Most
too.
of them were younger. You know,
That
they
is
were
true
different.
too. Yeah.
So at that point, it ended, you know, because there was a group of those parents where they're like, "Oh, let's go to the beach," or "Oh, let's go have some food," or "Let's go do this." Because I remember one of the tournaments was like, "Hey, we're gonna go eat. Do you guys want to come together?" You know, whatever. Oh no, thank you. But then later on, we were hearing that they all went out to eat afterwards.
Yeah.
So which I still loved it that it was just us and we got to talk to our son and spend some time alone with him because we never get to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that was also another thing was
But I
like
think
our
it's
age.
also not just that, but we weren't really part of the clique
Yeah,
because
definitely.
we only went to jiu-jitsu maybe once or twice a week, where these were like hardcore everyday parents. Like their kids were in jiu-jitsu every single day. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I feel like that's a thing too.
Yeah. Well,
Like
I mean,
today, I
divorce
went to
twice.
a baby shower today, right? And I know this lady because our 11-year-old, it's our 11-year-old's best friend's mom's baby shower. I don't know any of these parents. And I was not part of the clique because I'm not a baseball mom. So it's kind of like when he comes of age and he wants to go hang out with his friends, how awkward is it going to be for me that because I don't really know any of these parents. Like, this is his best friend, but I'm not really like
So then
in
does
sync.
that become one of those parents that just do the drop off then?
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's like our 15-year-old, he didn't ask for those things. And when he did ask for it, we did let him do it. And it was in a group, right? We never said no unless he had a bad grade or he had been acting up at home, right? As punishment, right? But other than that, we would be like, yeah, buddy, let's go drop you off. You know, we had no issues with it. I think when did he start hanging out with his friends? Like at 13?
Yeah.
Maybe at 13 he started hanging out with his friends where we would drop him off for stuff or birthday parties and things like that where we weren't attending with him anymore. Is that too old? Because I know parents who drop their kids off way younger.
Okay, so thinking about all this led me to something else, and I hate to do this, but we're talking about he's 15 now, and we're talking about him going out and doing his own things, but I just realized that he could probably start driving by 16.
Yeah. He has a couple friends who already have their permits.
So then let's say what happens once he starts
Driving.
driving.
Yeah, he's already told me he's going to take the kids to school. He's like, Mom, don't worry, I'll take the
Oh, no,
kids to
no,
school.
no.
I said, that's not happening.
No, that's not happening. No.
I told him that's not happening, buddy. I will still drive you guys to
Yeah.
school.
I mean, he can drive and you be a passenger. And, you
Yeah.
know, to see how he's.
I told him the only way that he's going to drive himself to school is if you have a job or some sort of after school extracurricular thing that you're doing after school that you need to drive yourself to, because I can't. That's the only way.
So, you know, I
driving.
used to make these jokes about when he started, whenever he would start driving, that I was going to make sure that we would get him a stick shift car.
Okay.
Because I didn't want him to be driving and texting.
Or with his phone, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So I wanted him to be on a stick shift car and everything. You know how hard it is to find stick shift cars
you
nowadays?
can't find them anymore.
Goodness gracious.
Because they're all paddle shift now.
Forget the paddle shift. The paddle shift has no clutch.
Yeah, there's no. Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's still an automatic.
If you want a stick shift, the closest you can get is paddle shift.
No, F that. So yeah. So well, and then the other thing that comes up to me was like 12 and a half years for girls. Like, what dad is gonna be okay with their little girl dating at 12? I mean, even our 15-year-old, whenever the little ones or the sisters are talking about boys or superhero husbands, he's like, "Young lady, you're not ever gonna get married. You better be 50."
I think he's more overprotective when it comes to the girls than we are at this point.
Right.
So
No, I'm still there. I was like, "Good job, son. Give it up." You know.
Well, and that's the thing is like, there's always been this difference between boys and girls. Like my brothers got to do stuff that I didn't get to do at the same age. You know, my brothers were definitely hanging out with their friends and their buddies at the mall or going to parties and things like that in their middle school years where I wasn't allowed to.
Well, you know, it's because boys are ugly and girls are beautiful, and you know you have to be protective over little beautiful little girls.
Yeah,
you know?
I get that. I get
There's
that.
a lot of weirdo creepos out there, you know, that just.
I was never allowed to do sleepovers. I was never.
Oh yeah, good. I'm glad. I applaud that.
Yeah, I was never allowed to go to sleepover. People were allowed to come to my house for sleepovers, but I was not allowed to go to theirs.
Yeah.
So, and our boys too. Have they ever been on a sleepover?
No,
No.
that's for girls.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't think we're not going to let our girls go on sleepovers.
No.
You know?
No.
We're
You
not-
want sleepovers, like girl sleepovers, you can go camping. You want to go camping, coordinated with the other parents, we'll go camping and then
And
we
they can
all
have a
kick it
sleepover that
together,
way.
Yeah.
The-
You know, or glamping. I'll start saving and try to buy me a little
RV.
trailer. Yeah.
so we can go glamp. I'm pretty sure all the other parents we know have RVs.
Yeah.
We're probably the only ones who would still have tents.
Right. Yeah. That's camping. I mean, we're talking about camping. You know.
I know.
I mean,
Get with the times, babe.
Yeah,
Get with the times.
It does wonders for my back. You know, like the mattresses really ruin me. So, but sleeping on like floor, it's magic.
Magic for your back.
Thank you, military, for giving that to me. Also.
So, I mean, anybody who's listening out there, what's the right age for letting your kids, boy or girl, start hanging out with their friends unsupervised? Are we being extra paranoid because we want to know?
See, my
details?
age thing that I was talking about was dating. But check this out. So I did a search also on average age for kids to go out unsupervised, right? And some of this is crazy, right? So it also depends on being as a parent and knowing your children and knowing, their
What
maturity
they can
level,
handle, yes.
right?
Mhm.
But apparently, the answer is there is no legal age for when children are allowed to walk alone in public during the day or whatever there are. So, but they have different opinions, right? So, from 8 to 12, it's the age range that most children go out alone. 8 to 12. Okay, I'm not cool with 8 to 12. Like 12.
But what
is
were
still-
you doing at 8 and 12? You were walking by yourself.
No, I wasn't. 8 or 12. Yes, I was.
Yes, you were.
But that's because I didn't have a mom.
Yeah,
because my
but
mom walked me everywhere before that, and then after 7, I didn't have a mom. At 7, I didn't have a mom. 6 or 7, 7,
7.
7. I didn't have a mom anymore. So at 7, that was my thing. That was my rude awakening. I had to do everything for myself. There was no more, there's no more somebody to walk me to school or pick me up from
So do
school.
you think if your mom hadn't passed away, she would have been a helicopter mom?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Probably to the point where I was either 13 or 14 the hormones and the rebellion age or something. Or maybe she would have been like, you're old enough, like start doing it yourself. I doubt it because I was her baby boy. But still. Here I am giving him a hard time about being a mama's
I
boy, right?
know. You do give him such a hard time about being a mama's boy.
No, yeah. So, but yeah, like think about it. Yeah, you're right. 8, I was walking myself to school.
Yeah.
But I was making my own breakfast. I was packing my
Yeah,
lunch.
I get it.
I was making
Very
my dinner
different
at moments.
scenario.
Yeah, I was doing
Very
my own
different
laundry.
scenario.
I was ironing my uniform.
I was
shining
allowed to
my
walk
shoes.
by myself at 8. Actually, I did. There was a liquor store, 1, 2, like 3 blocks away from our house. And I was allowed to walk to that liquor store before the age of 12. As overprotective as my parents were, interestingly enough, they did let me walk to the liquor store 3 blocks away to get candy. And sometimes I would go with my brothers, and sometimes I'd go by myself.
Okay, hold on. Let me touch back on this one. So that 8 to 12 is the age according to care.com that says children can go out alone, right? Mm-hmm. But from 11 to 13 is a age range that smart parents say most parents start to allow their children to go out. So 11 to 13, it changes.
Okay. So that's the true age
Yeah.
that parents usually allow. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. It says it's very.
I think
variables.
it definitely just depends on how present your parents are in your life. Ultimately, how present are your parents in your life, and the neighborhood that you're in.
Yeah.
Like where we live, the nearest store is almost 2 miles away. So it's a mile. I'm sorry.
No, but see, it's one of those things, right? Like, so we hear a lot of those things now where parents, daycare or YMCA after school programs because of work schedule or whatever.
Yeah.
But for us, it was more like get off that school bus, walk straight to the house, lock yourself in.
Yeah.
There's some noodles and tuna and stuff that you can make yourself and watch on TV. And don't you answer the door for no one, because if you do, I'm gonna bring you back from the dead and whoop your ass.
Yeah, for sure. Like when I would get off because I walk home from the bus stop. I took the bus to school. I would walk, to the bus. I would walk home from the bus without my parents. And yeah, if I got home and my mom wasn't home, I just have to make sure I lock the door. I would just go straight to my brother's room and play Sega, but
yeah,
I wouldn't know anything that was going on. Somebody could have broken in. I wouldn't have known because I was in the furthest room from the front door.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I know we can be protective parents. I mean, that's our job. It's our job to make sure that they're safe, that they grow up fine, and do everything. Of course, we can't overdo it because we end up spoiling them and making them useless.
And we saw
right?
a movie today.
Yeah,
that covered that. I wonder if this is why this also comes up.
Well, no, we were going to talk about it. So remember, I mentioned it on the previous episode.
Oh, yes. But it goes hand in hand with the movie we saw today. What was it called?
No Hard Feelings.
No Hard Feelings.
No Hard Feelings.
That's
that was the name of the movie. Yeah, we saw that movie. Yeah.
No Hard Feelings. And it definitely has like a rated R section there. So unless you're okay with your kid seeing her completely nude. Frontal nudity there.
Our 11-year-old walked in right around that time, and Mom's like,
"Get out!"
He's like, "There's a naked woman on the TV. You shouldn't be in here." And I was like, "You better be looking at the TV right now."
The difference. He's 11. Dad's over here saying he should be looking at the naked lady on TV, and Mom is saying, "Get out! You're not supposed to be looking at the naked lady on TV." Maybe a different subject. And maybe it's all tied together. What's
Yeah.
the right age,
But
right?
that's the difference. So with him, it's different. Both our boys are so different.
Yeah.
So yeah, so parents, let us know how old is the right age in your mind to allow your children to start doing things by themselves, hanging out with their friends, going out on dates, probably having a boyfriend or girlfriend.
And are they allowed to do things by themselves with this boyfriend or girlfriend? Is it only with chaperones
I
or
think,
friends, you know?
yeah, yeah. And what's the limit of like allowing them? Like, what's the time? What's the curfew? Because we didn't even go into curfews nowadays, right? Like, is it a school night? Is it a weekend? Like, are you driving? Are you supervised? Are you pinning? Are you hanging around with them?
Well,
like, we're at the
okay.
mall. We're gonna be at the mall.
Well, see, that
Because we
kind
did
of...
this one time. The last time he went out, he went to the movie with friends, and we went out to eat next door.
Yes, we did.
Right? We're like, hey,
Actually, I've done that to him twice.
okay, well,
Because there was another time that he went to the arcade at the mall.
Oh, right,
He went to
right.
the arcade at the mall with his friends.
That was the same day. Oh,
They
do it
went
another
again.
time?
They did
Oh,
it
okay.
another time, and I was in the mall with the littles because I was like, well, I don't really want to drive all the way back home and then have to come back and get him in a couple hours. So I'll just hang out. So I took the littles and we went and ran errands in town, and then we just hung out at the mall. And then we let him know, it's like, hey, we're in the mall. We're over here. We'll just meet you outside the, oh my gosh, the Cheesecake Factory. Well, and the reason we were going to meet him there is because he said that the guys were all going to go have dinner there. And I didn't give him any money for dinner because he never mentioned dinner. So I said, well, I'll just pick you up there.
Right.
Type of thing. So, but that was also one of the nights. Hey, mom, can I stay later? And I'm like, no, we gotta go. Type of thing. So, I did hang out. The point being that I hung out, but I wasn't helicopter mom. Like I wasn't in the same space he was.
Explain to me a helicopter mom.
Helicopter moms.
I heard you say it like a couple of times now, and I really don't know. What
helicopter moms are the moms that are literally hovering over their kids and everything that they do. That's why they're called helicopter moms, because they're just hovering. They're just like always right there. So if they're on the playground, I'm a little bit of a helicopter mom with the littles, right? Because I don't want them to fall and break themselves. So, but as they get older, and if I've got another mom to talk to, I will ignore them.
Well, of course, see, so this is interesting for me. So that's what you're saying. That's a helicopter mom. For me, I wouldn't know. But if you tell me it's like a mom that's a helicopter, I'm like, oh, the ghetto bird. So flashlight pointing, and it's like,
sure, you can even add all that to it because she's definitely the mom telling you, no, 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 no. Like, oh no, you can't do that.
Sucks.
So there's moms like that. So helicopter moms are the moms that
keep your hands off her booty.
Yeah, something like that. So I again admit I'm a helicopter mom with the littles, but as he got older, I wasn't in the same space as he was. Just like, I'm in the mall, just I'll let you know when it's time to go, type of thing, and just meet us in this spot. So again, he doesn't do that anymore, right? I'm always with this girl. I was originally had a point is that with this young lady that he was supposed to hang out with, I told him, I was like, hey,
lady.
I told him,
lady friend.
Do you think her parents would like to go have breakfast with us one day?
Ooh, no, that's too fast. That's
too much.
Too soon.
And he just looked at me like, Mom, just drop it.
Yeah, that's.
And then I said, and there's this eatery we like to go to for dessert.
That sounds like
okay. So I took it a different step. I said, there's an eatery that we like to go to for dessert. That's kind of between us, and it's a crepe place that we like. And I said, have you asked her if she's ever been to this crepe place? Because it's kind of near her house. And then he's like, oh no, I haven't asked her. I said, well, why don't you ask her and maybe we'll meet there. So anyway, so I've been putting out other suggestions to see if, we can help him make this happen. But is that wrong of us is it wrong of me to be trying to help him make this happen with this girl? Or do I need to just let it be? Because he's also not the he's not the, I don't know. I feel like he just doesn't think sometimes. I'm like, buddy, you need to ask questions. Like, you need to, but why? But why, mom? I don't, no, it's fine. And I'm like, oh, God, he's never going to get a girlfriend because he doesn't. And it reminded me of this
That
boy
movie.
in the movie. He reminded me so much of the boy in this movie. He just doesn't get it. It was very frustrating. And he had helicopter parents. He had those parents who did everything for him to the point that they even hooked him up with a girl. You know, so I feel like I'm over here trying to hook him up with a girl, even though it's his, like someone he already knows, you know what I mean? But I'm the one trying to like push him to like have a moment with her. And is that wrong of me?
I see where you're going with it. And yeah, I mean,
It's wrong?
No, it's not wrong.
Is it too much? I just let it.
That's the thing. We don't know. I mean, yeah, maybe a little. I don't know. But it's just that. I mean, we have to kind of give them some sense of trust to let them learn and, fall down and pick themselves back up and
Yeah,
learn from
but
mistakes.
I feel like to me, I see it like if he really likes this girl as much as he says he does, then he would be trying different things.
Yeah, but see, at the same time, it's kind of like one of those where, like, if I try, my mom and my dad are going to be like, well, what about this? What about that? No, young man, you can't go. Not without my supervision. I was like, I really don't want them around.
He already knows that her parents are not going to let her come around until they meet him.
Yeah, and you know what? And besides that, I thought it was going to be different, too, because I remember earlier, when they first met, she was like, "Oh, let's go to the movies. Let's go watch a scary movie and everything." So I was like, "Oh, her parents must be pretty chill and relaxed."
Yes, I thought the same thing.
But now I was surprised to hear no. Or did something happen? Yeah, or what happened?
Or was it an excuse to just not hang out with him?
That could be it. Yeah. Nah, I doubt it. Okay, I'm just gonna say I doubt that now.
I mean,
but
I guess I
get
could because
So
why would they talk for an hour otherwise?
Yeah, so that's the thing, though. Is like we kind of want them to learn and go on their way and experience things, but at the same time, we're overprotected by saying, "But what if this happens? What does that happen?" And I think about it, it's like I've tried teaching them like street knowledge or whatever, and I'm like, dude, like.
Street smarts are experienced. You can't learn it.
You can't start giving them
can't
a
learn
heads
theory.
Up. But here's where I'm going at. Like, let's say they go out and whatever that, and he's like, "Oh, I'll pay," or like stacking, and he's not noticing the people behind him, and then he gets jumped or somebody. There's a lot of crazies, that. And I mean, I experienced it. I mean,
but we don't live in San Diego anymore. No. I don't expect our son to get stabbed.
I do, man. I see homeless everywhere, and you never know how they're gonna act and how they're gonna do it.
I get it. I do get that. And again, that's just one of those nowadays things we worry. Like we moved to this area because it was safe and clear of these dangers that we saw prevailing in other areas. And now it's all trickling this way.
Yeah.
So it's no longer safe even here. So I get it. But again, at what point do you stop overprotecting them? We're trying to build men here.
So if he told you he had a girlfriend right now, how would you feel?
I'd be happy, but I'd want to know who she was.
Okay. All right. So then obviously 15 is a good age.
Yeah, I'd be fine with him having a girlfriend at 15. I did tell him one time that I don't mind him having a girlfriend as long as his grades don't drop.
I asked our oldest boy before, I was like, hey, you want to get a couple of your friends and, you want me to pick you guys up and take you to the movies or, you guys want to go to our batting cage or, play some miniature golf? Like, let me know. Just let me know. Hit them up. Hit one or two and I'll take you. I have no issue. It's the weekends. It's like just like before, we'll drop you off and your mom and me and the other ones will go do something.
I did drop him off to go hang out with a friend, and they basically just walked around the neighborhood for like 2 hours.
There's nothing wrong with that,
That's all they did.
Yeah, that's they're
I dropped him off. I dropped him off at one park, and I picked him up in some other park. They were just
So we went from when is the right age for them to start dating to, hey, let's make this punk go out and date.
Let's make him go on a date.
We went full circle here. Now we're gonna push him into like, get out there.
Go on a date, please. Go on a date. And
Listen here, Deuce Bigelow. Go out
but
there.
it's honestly, it's just, I feel like I want him to go on this date just because he talks about her so much.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, get it out of his system.
Well, you know,
Like I feel like he's building her up to be like this
Right.
wonderful,
I think that would have
perfect
been a
person.
great, if they would have spoken sooner, it would have worked out great if when we had the birthday party, if we would have invited
her and her family.
and her family over, and then they would have got to, know the family, know us, and know
Yeah,
him,
because I think
see
she has
him.
younger siblings.
Right.
Yeah.
It would have been a good getting to know each other and
Yeah.
kind of like they're friends,
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
live
that's
nearby.
true. Mm-hmm.
So maybe I don't know, maybe down the road or something we could have done that for his birthday.
He didn't want to do anything for his birthday.
I did. I wanted to have a quinceañera for him. I really did. I wanted to throw him a
I'm
quinceañera.
so weird for that. That's
but
just
not
weird.
not like the girl quinceañera. Of
It's
course, he's not going to
still
get a
just
dress or
weird.
anything. I was just going
It's
to do it
just
different. It was going to
weird.
be some
His
some
friend,
haystacks,
his
some
friend
carne
had a
asada,
quinceañera. His guy friend.
maybe some
And he
norteños
didn't
to
go
be
to
funny.
it.
Get some norteños at the end of the night. He gets to have a couple little shots of whiskey
weird.
or tequila.
Weird.
Maybe a
Boys should
caguama.
not have quinceañeras or sweet 16s. I'm sorry.
It's funny.
They shouldn't.
Why not? Why are you being sexist?
They just shouldn't. You
It's
celebrate boys at age of 18
It's just
when
with
they're
a different.
legal.
It's just a different touch. Why not? Why not?
It's weird.
It's hilarious. He's not gonna do a vals or have damas.
Just weird.
It's just a birthday party.
Anyways,
You're making it.
again,
All right. Okay, well, people, thank you for your time. Thank you for
I
listening.
know, listening to
this
us rant about
conversation.
this.
We ranted on about it a little too much. Just a reminder, follow us at Until They Sleep on Instagram and Facebook. We'd like to hear some feedback. It's always greatly appreciated. Any subjects, any ideas that you want to hear our point of view or our conversations down the road, please let us know. Anything you'd
also,
like to-
please also point out things you'd like us to change. Like maybe our format's not, something's wonky with our format. I mean, without the feedback, we really don't know
Right, so we're just continue.
what's good. We're just going to keep doing what we're doing because no one's
Yeah.
telling us otherwise.
Yeah, but we appreciate you taking the time, making this part of your commute or your daily activity, your weekly activity. Thank you for the listen. Thank you for the love and the support. As always, sleepyheads, have a great week. Until the next time.
All right. Take care.
All right.
Good night.
Good night. Peace.